Interesting. But yeah, a lot of the well-to-do racists in the suburbs, I've been canvassing them for years as well. Different levels. Some of them, wouldn't open the door or talk to me. Some of them would call the cops. Some of them would talk to me and then apologize for how they first wouldn't like open the door or how they first like would react. But there's always like different levels.
Well, and your stories sound very similar to some of Julian's stories.
Yeah.
And some of Eric Holness's stories.
Mm-hmm. So what's going on with the rest of the cast? Are we dealing with unprofessionals or what?
Well, Julian said he would be here 8:30 or 9.
Well, Julian.
Which means 10.
It's Julian's birthday, and he wasn't one of the people that's been responding. So I figured the Joeys and I guess Sam said he wasn't available tonight.
Sam said, oh.
What?
Right, or no, what did he say?
No, he said he would come later.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe we could do it later, especially because, like, Mr. I don't want to do script reading is coming in the room.
Yeah, Mr. I don't want to do script reading. I've got better stuff to do, but maybe he does. He's here.
No!
Now, and he knew that we'd be doing this, so try not to give him a hard time.
The problem is we can't hear him.
Yeah, I know. He pretends not to be sensitive, but, you never know. He could be a little sensitive.
Would you say pretends not to be sensitive? We still can't hear him.
That is true. He could be getting into character right now. Wait, actually, maybe he's being Silent Bob right now. Maybe he's Method.
No, maybe he's playing Silent Bob. There you go.
Well, Ish, that's excellent, man. You are killing it right now. I really feel it. And the thing about Silent Bob is he's got this presence, right? It's not just about not talking. It's about kind of like filling the room, but also giving space to other people. So I really feel that right now. Ish is really killing it right now. But let's not call him Ish so he can stay in his zone.
Just call him Silent Bob.
Yeah, Silent Bob. So it's not. What do you think? It's not feasible to do this with less than like 5 people, right? Less than a handful of people. You can't really.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Oh, there you are. We thought you were playing Silent Bob.
Yeah, you were doing well, man. You're doing well. It sounds like you studied the part after all. What do you call those people that are just in case? What's that?
Hi, bye.
Hi, bye. How's it going?
It is going.
Okay.
Good to see you all. Good to hear your voices.
Yes.
Everybody talk so I can just get the pleasure of hearing everyone's voice before I'm not leaving. I'm just muting it and watching TV while I listen to you guys.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna read because Joey's not here.
Yeah, the 3. I think for 3 people's probably not going to cut it for this. But we
Who is here?
Right now it's Emily,
Me and Cynthia,
Flavius, and Cynthia.
Oh, hey Emily. Hey Cynthia. Hey Flavius.
Hey, how's it going?
I'll talk.
You can't see anything right now?
He's not listening.
I see you guys.
Not watching.
Oh, you see us?
Not
okay.
looking.
Okay.
Yeah, I see you guys.
All right. I was going to test your ESP, but it's too late. You've been looking. So.
My extrasensory perception is I lost it at infancy.
Oh, really? That's too bad. But you could regain it.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You've been looking for it for that long?
No. And I'm good.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I know you say you're good, but you could regain it without really meaning to.
Yeah, but I'm good.
No, I hear you. I know it may not be meaningful to you, but it could be something that's involuntary.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
I hear you though. So
So
you're good
how
with
was
the
it?
senses you have.
Yeah.
And how many
Yeah.
senses do you acknowledge? Just the
6
5? Oh, okay. You know 6. Okay.
and sometimes 7.
Wait. So does that include extrasensory
No.
perception? Oh no. Okay.
No.
So what are 6 and 7?
I'm not going to tell you what 7 is, but 6 is intuitive.
So that's not intuition isn't extrasensory.
I guess you could categorize it under that, but see, I'm from the comic book world, so there's
Okay.
a harder definition of extrasensory perception that I tend
Okay.
to think of when people say ESP,
I see. Like transfer thoughts across.
like telepathy and
Okay.
a bunch of other things like
I
that.
see. I see. Like, does that include moving objects or just speaking
No,
without speaking?
no, you're talking telekinesis.
Okay. So you're
That
talking like
I
you're
don't think
talking like
telekinesis falls. Like if I were writing the story, I wouldn't put telekinesis under ESP.
okay. So you're talking like speaking without speaking.
Not speaking without speaking, but perceiving, sending and receiving thoughts without speaking.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I meant.
So in other words, mind reading.
Like telepathy.
Yeah. Reading
Well,
minds.
mind reading might be a little bit different though. When I think of mind reading, I feel like it's not necessarily consensual. Whereas when I think of sending and
That's
receiving thoughts is more consensual.
Take these with you. Call me on your way back. Take what off the drill bit, sweetheart? Sure.
What?
He's not talking to us.
So, Mike.
Yeah.
I do have a character that has a 7th sense. His name is 7.
Okay.
And for a long time, he spent most of his life in a padded room.
Okay.
So his 7th sense is his ability to interact with the world around him on a non-corporal level.
Okay. What does that mean?
He can essentially leave his physical body.
Ah. Okay. I've got some experience with that.
But he's
I'm sorry, we're losing
We
every
can't hear
fourth
you.
word.
he's cognizant,
Mhm.
of his physical self, and he can kind of do stuff, and he can also, with this is a comic character with limited ability, control of his physical self.
I'm sorry, limited ability, control
To
of
still
his-
control his
of
physical
himself.
self.
while he's incorporeal.
Yes.
I see. Okay. I see.
There you go. Love you. Be safe, please. I don't want to have to
Okay.
come hurt people.
That's so sweet of you. Thank you.
Yes, that was sweet. I love you too.
No,
Ish.
no, I
I will be safe. Don't worry.
my sweetness does not extend to you people. I'm kidding. So his name is 7, and he also has the intuitive sense, and so yeah, he's a part of a little, just a comic book character I used to mess around with amongst a bunch of characters I used to mess around with.
And
Writing exercises,
Was this before 11 came out?
I don't even know what 11 is.
Isn't
From
11?
Stranger Things?
Yeah, from Stranger Things.
Oh, I don't watch Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
It's so good.
It's all right.
It is good.
Now, I don't know how great it is, and I definitely don't. It's one of those things and I often criticize people who do that, like those people who share those memes. I've never watched Game of Thrones. How many people can share this? Like, that's cool. Remember we had this conversation, Mike?
Yep,
Like, that's
absolutely.
cool to do or something. Like, okay,
Yep.
whatever. Now, so I've never watched. It's not. I recognize it to be great because a majority of people recognize it to be great. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't hate on it or anything. It's
Sure.
just not my thing.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I've never watched Game of Thrones or Stranger Things, and I don't hate on them. They're just I only have time for so many shows, and they didn't
Yeah.
make the cut.
That's very true.
Mhm.
That's so many shows.
I
and
rocked
movies
with
and-
Stranger Things for I think most of the first season, and there were certain things. Once certain things happened, it wasn't as interesting, but it was still good for the first season. But the second season, I found kind of went downhill for me, kind of quickly.
I just want to make a segue really quick, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cynthia, were you wearing a blazer?
Am I wearing a blazer? No, I'm not wearing
Oh, okay. I thought you were wearing a blazer.
one.
You were going to be the topic.
I thought you meant were
Well,
like she had been earlier, and she did a she did a wardrobe change.
Okay, go on, Mike. I'm sorry.
she actually had to go to work today.
What's that?
Cynthia actually had to go to the office today.
Oh,
Listen, COVID is still going crazy in your city. My cousin lives in your city. She just passed away yesterday from COVID. It's
Are
not,
you serious? I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
where
Yeah.
in the city does she live?
Brooklyn.
Do you know what part?
I don't.
Okay.
I was supposed to go there with my wife and my daughter and everybody last year to see my cousins on that side of the family, and I didn't go. Now I
Right.
kind of wish I went because
Yeah.
Cookie,
Yeah.
she died, but you know,
Well,
yeah,
I
they're
could
from
tell you,
Brooklyn. It's
We're
real.
sorry to hear that.
I mean,
I could tell you, I
No.
haven't left the house in a week. So
I just leave
There
for
you
my
go.
walks, for my 20-minute walks and my shopping at the grocery store. I was gonna say, I mean, I wasn't going to do this earlier, but I kind of told my family that I was invited to the beach, and that I didn't say this to you, Cynthia, but like in my mind, I was saying like hell no, but like in that like in my Color Purple voice. Who, if you've seen Color Purple, that would be the Oprah Winfrey character. Like hell no. I think, and then she gets slapped right after that. But that was kind of what I was saying. When you invited
I mean,
me to
go
the
there, but I
What's
mean,
that?
I hope everything goes well.
What's that?
I said the nerves
Repeat
are
that.
there. I just hope everything goes well.
Yeah,
be
I mean, I
safe.
just be safe.
Now
But
I'm
I
telling
think,
you to be safe.
yeah, I think Ish loves you and he wants you to be safe. But yeah, that's my way of saying just be careful. I'm sure you'll employ whatever tactics you need to, but it's just not a.
We already covered this. Cynthia has an aversion to love.
Oh no.
She's allergic to it.
Well, I hope that doesn't include
covered
self-love,
this.
because
I'm not allergic to love. John loves
Yeah.
me.
we'll
was
definitely
this in the
practice.
same? Was this in the same conversation where Cynthia got monogamy shamed?
Yeah, that was the monogamy shaming segment.
Monogamy
That was
shaming.
about aversion to love. I think it was.
I've
Just,
never shamed monogamy. What are you talking
No,
about?
we were
She was like, I'm
shaming you.
in love with people. I don't have time to determine if I like someone. I'm just messing around with these.
I didn't say that.
anyways, be careful, and maybe reconsider going. But
Well, we're
definitely-
going super early and then leaving earlier, so I think it should be
All right.
fine.
Well, how are you getting there?
Train. It's gonna be a hell of a ride.
Hmm.
Oh,
Wow, that's another thing to be careful about. Be
I haven't
careful
been to
on.
the Rockaway since like high school,
Well,
so that should be
now
interesting.
may not be the best time to go, but be careful on the train and be careful in public.
Always.
Do you have roommates?
Yeah, I'm going with my roommate.
Okay. Well, I guess at least it's better that you're going with your
I was
roommate.
going alone.
No,
No, as opposed to
Going
with
alone.
people you don't
as
live with.
opposed, as
no,
opposed
no.
to people that you don't live with. Yeah.
Like
At
you
least
guys?
you're going. At least you're going with like us. Like at least you're going with people that you're already in proximity with.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it looks like
You already
Florida,
with
that you already have what?
herd immunity with.
Right. Well, if it looks like Florida, and it looks like people, if it looks crowded, don't be afraid to turn back around.
Just get the hell out.
Hey, get the hell out and say, hey, at least we went to the beach.
I doubt
At
it's
least
gonna
it-
be like. I don't think it's gonna be like shoulder to shoulder. I'm sure they're going to have people that are going to be monitoring the situation.
You're
They
sure?
have to. I mean, the beaches are
Why?
open. Huh?
Why do they have to? And what kind
Because,
of
I mean, the New York City guidelines, they have specific guidelines for how businesses should be operating.
I
Make
mean,
sure
there's
that
no
it-
one. I mean, that'll be interesting. Let me know if they do, because that'll be interesting. I mean, sometimes they have guidelines that they expect people to follow, but it's not like they have someone
It doesn't
policing.
happen in practice.
Yeah,
So
or
early
just
on,
that
though,
there's no one policing. Yeah.
so early on though, they were forcing like beach stuff.
Earlier on, you said they were enforcing it.
They were
Cop ran
enforcing
people right up off the
stuff.
beach.
Oh, police, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they might have the popo might be there throwing people off the beach.
But you know, a lot walking around. I know for Erie County, for instance, we got like a warning because, and again, I think it's so irresponsible and it bothers me. But like hundreds of people who were from places that were still like under certain restrictions just kind of came into Erie County this past week.
Yep.
So now our COVID numbers are rising.
See, did anyone see that that Facebook post that I put up telling people to stay the hell away from Long Island?
Yes.
I mean, really, I should have changed it and put New York City, but same idea is like.
There was
First of
some
all-
story.
I mean, I got
There
to.
was some story.
Sorry.
There was a story in the news the other day about some kid. I think it was in Chappaqua. It was in some like rich people place in Westchester County,
Yeah.
where the parents took their kids on vacation to Florida in the
That's
middle of
dumb.
a fucking pandemic. Came back,
Stupid
the kid
shit.
got COVID, went to a party, went to a graduation party that shouldn't have been happening in the first place, and gave
See?
it to a bunch of people.
Yeah. Stupid
So-
rich kid shit.
Who does this?
Rich
Who
nigga
does
shit.
this?
So my friend is really upset with me. Like, and this is a very close friend of mine, someone I love, is close to me. I talk to him every day, and he was very stressed during COVID, and you know, white guy, conservative, and he would tell me, he's like, Ish, I'm just really stressed. I gotta get outside. I need sun. Like he was really stressed. And as soon as Georgia opened, he went on vacation there for 2 weeks. And I said to him when he came back, I'm like, dude, that was just like really irresponsible. And he's still mad. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, dude, you know, just because Georgia opened and they may be good, we're still on lockdown here.
They're not
Right.
good. Just
And-
because
and I-
states opened
Not
up doesn't
good.
mean they're good.
No, they're not.
Yeah. I spoke to my mom
But-
today.
I think it's irresponsible that someone from a state that is still locked would jump on a plane and
Yeah,
go
it's
to a
true.
state that has opened up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, part of the
Well,
humanity
they're
game is
fucking
this.
selfish. They're fucking selfish. They only care about themselves.
And this is the same guy, you know, he's conservative. And I said to him, I said, Hunt,
Of course.
I shouldn't even said his name, but I said, bruh, you would be all over Facebook tripping if you found out people were coming from other states that were locked down while we were open.
Right.
Does he deny the existence of the virus? Because I feel like a lot of conservatives do.
He doesn't deny the existence. He thinks that it is overblown.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people.
Oh,
fall into
because we're
that category.
testing more and we're getting more results? Is that
No, he thought it was overblown from the jump. He's one of those people that post stupid statistics like there are more abortions per year and blah, blah, blah.
Or that there's more flu deaths.
And it's like,
blah, blah,
and it's
blah.
like, okay, so we should just ignore this because of that. False
That's
equivalence.
such a fucking ridiculous argument. How long
Yeah.
has the flu been around? How long has COVID been around? How many deaths
Well,
have there been in 6 months?
I mean,
I
this
mean, we're
just
talking
goes
false
back to-
equivalencies.
Yeah, this just goes back to scientific illiteracy. I mean, at some point, people have to realize the average. I mean, there's a word layman for a reason, right?
Hmm.
Like the average person is a layperson, and scientists are these. You know, many of them are eggheads. Some of them are not, but they are people who are in their field and who have studied with rigor and know what they're talking about, and often don't even know how to communicate what they're talking about, which is another issue, to be honest.
And maybe they don't even know what they're talking about, but they're just the most equipped to know.
Well,
Look,
I mean, they certainly have studied with rigor, something that some average
Yeah.
person can't like figure out or understand or know. So when Joe Blow starts quoting his statistics that he got off of YouTube or that he put together himself, it just doesn't. It's not equivalent. It just.
I'm always saying that. You didn't even do your homework in high school. I know because I went to high school with you.
Exactly, and these people,
you didn't show up for high school.
and these people somehow want to what, like, tell us that they know more. There have been attempts by people. I think our favorite scientist Carl Sagan may have been one of them, but there have been a few attempts to have charismatic people who are great at communicating try to communicate science to the rest of us, because when the average egghead tries to communicate it, it just confuses the public, right? Like there was that thing years ago when they were trying to communicate that man-made climate change was a little bit different than they originally thought. And of course, the mainstream media ran away with that story. And they said, see, they were wrong all along. They had exaggerated. And it was like, no. That's not what they were saying at all. You just mistook what they were saying. But the problem is scientists don't know how to like communicate.
To be honest with you, like I'm like speaking from the position of the person who is usually tasked with, shall we nicely put it, translating science into English for people.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that is an issue because like oftentimes it does fall on like the people in fields of education to kind of translate the gobbledygook for the average citizen, and it's very, very rare to find. It's like I'm not sure why this phenomenon exists, but it's very, very rare to find somebody who has the wherewithal to understand what the scientists are saying and the ability to communicate it to others.
Communicate it, exactly, yeah, exactly. That's why they've tried to, I forget who else has been down with this project who would still be alive. Okay, your man Alan Alda, was that the guy from MASH?
I think
Right?
Yes.
Alan Alda, right? Yes, Alan Alda was a part of a project that was trying to get like science communicated to like the masses in like a very palatable, easy to understand way. Because like when we're dealing with things as big as climate change, politics should never, ever, ever, ever come into it, right? It's like serious stuff. And like we should have like these independent, like brilliant people who can also communicate it to the masses in ways that they totally understand. But when they go quoting things and they're like, people are like have these false equivalencies like, well, some scientists don't believe in it, some scientists do. It's like, okay, listen, 98% of scientists know that it's true, and that's the largest consensus that you'll ever get by far. So you might as well say 100% and just leave it at that. But then it turns into this whole like other conversation of people like, well, some scientists are trying to make money and like, all this nonsense. Yeah, the science just basically isn't helping us because people aren't listening, and we don't have a population that knows how to listen to the science. So it's pretty frustrating. Other times, it's like you're a teacher, so at least you get to filter some information to students. But a lot of people aren't in education, right? They're not going to school, and so their information gets filtered through the media, which is one of the worst places it can be filtered. And the way that stuff gets filtered through the media, it makes it look like science is often contradicting itself. Which that's okay because we have to constantly be improving and updating our information, but B, often it's not. It's just framed in like a very specific way that people don't understand. So like this week, coffee's good for you, and next week, coffee's bad for you. And it's like, well, that's not really what was said. One week they're talking about, you know, what a cup of coffee a day does to your stomach. The next week they're talking about antioxidants. And it's like, how about a comprehensive report
It's
that
like you're
people
not
can like,
helping here.
yeah, exactly. You're not helping. And then the headlines aren't helping. It's like, oh, coffee, horrible for you. And it's like, okay, that wasn't what the study said. It was a very,
Well,
very specialized study.
and here's the thing too, is that like in my position, like as a teacher, like I can, you know, try to communicate the information as best I can. There's not even a damn thing I can much do with the kids. Like, like we were saying, you didn't do your homework when you were in high school. What makes you think that you know what you're talking about now? Like,
Yeah.
there's not much I can do for you, kid, if you don't show up to school.
No, and we're
Like,
seeing
you
it
know what
in
I mean?
full-fledged adults. And like, and it's very odd because some of these people that we're seeing it in are like you're an engineer. You're supposed to be like able to take information and like, I mean, you're dealing with like math and you're dealing with, you know, you're dealing with like data and like all this stuff. You would think that this person would be able to handle information better than the next, but they are no more equipped than Joe Blow that like didn't graduate third grade. They're like no more equipped. You know, all they did was they got a degree in a very specialized thing. They did that thing very well, but as soon as you like move them over to like a different field that involves like some kind of like science or something else, they are like ill-equipped to even think about it. And it's like, it's kind of mind-blowing. And it's not like, you know, when you're young, you would
Well,
think, oh, like scientists, like smart people, like mathematicians, like you would think these are people who understand, but they just don't. Everyone's like,
I find myself explaining like the science behind things to people with PhDs who just
yeah,
happen to have PhDs in other fields. And
yeah,
I certainly don't have an advanced degree in like
yeah, that's totally what I'm saying.
advanced science.
That's totally what I'm saying. I
Like,
mean, if anything, I would trust a third grader more because they're still in school, right?
Mhm.
Like they're actually being taught the stuff that adults have forgotten, and they might have a sense of humility about them, where this PhD in one field, like, okay, you got your PhD in meteorology, like, let's not talk about climate science. But the average Joe Blow is like, oh no, what do you mean? Meteorology, they're talking about the weather. Climate, that's the weather, right? And so they misconstrue the two.
no.
And then you have these morons, um, you know, updating the weather, saying
Oh,
things
I
like,
just
oh,
taught this.
they're like, oh, it was a cold day today. So much for global warming. And then you have everyone watching TV saying, see, my meteorologist said man-made global warming is a joke. That's all I need. He's a scientist. He knows what he's talking about. That's like someone should censor these people.
That's kind of ridiculous.
But yeah, I wonder if Alan Alda is still doing this thing. I feel like we should write to him and find out how we can help like promote what he's doing if it's still a thing.
I mean, Bill Nye the Science Guy tries,
Yeah, well, I mean,
but he's
yeah,
still
that's
kind of an
true.
egghead.
Well, no, you're right. He definitely tried. I mean, well, the thing I like about Bill is like he's not really an egghead. I mean, he like gets very passionate and he'll like curse people out. Like
That's
Bill is
true.
like not to be played with. He will like curse people out when talking about this stuff. But the difference is, you know, you have to watch their show in order to get that information, and that's not
And that's a self-selecting group of people.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, any project that's going to address the masses has to do it in some kind of way where we can get this information out. I don't really know how you do that to a society that's like hell bent on refusing information and knowledge, but there's got to be some kind of way.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like maybe put some of these people like on the problem is the reason why they're not putting like some of these people like Bill Nye on the regular news is because the media, as we well know, the common sense here is that the media just wants to push their agenda.
Right. Well, that's yeah, that's a big problem. I mean, you know, they're definitely pushing their agenda, which is often just based on commerce. It's not even always like left or right or this and that. It's just based on what they think will sell commerce. But it's like, I mean, A, we've got to divorce politics from the science stuff. B, we've got to give scientists some kind of real power in order to be able to affect change, right? Like, I feel like a body of like the independent concern, the independent panel of concerned scientists or whatever they're called that deals with climate change, or the international panel of climate
It's like
change.
the Society of Concerned Scientists or something. Oh
Well, there's
crap! It's just a rain.
the IPCC is the International Panel on Climate Change. They should be able to veto. They should be able to veto bills that will have a negative effect on the climate. They should be able to be like, nope, nope, can't pass that, can't pass that. That's going to like push us beyond the point of repair. We need to be going in the other direction. And they should be able to do it with like some level of impunity and saying this isn't about
How do you balance that power? How do you balance that ability with the power that comes with having that ability?
Well, let me put it like this. Right now, that power lies in the hands of like military and military spending and like police forces and all these other forces, to the point where we shouldn't even we're not even in a position to question that kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm questioning it. I'm asking
yes, but
how, like, I'm not arguing. What I'm saying is there's a potential when you give any group, like you're describing, that type of power, and that's what it is, which is why it's hard to just divorce science from politics, even though ideally I think that's the case. What you're essentially doing is giving an independent group power to affect politics through science.
so you
I'm
just
not, and I'm
so
saying
you can just write it. You can just write it into the law that they only have so much. I don't know, that they only have so much power. The reason why I'm approaching it like this, and why I'm saying like we're not even there yet to be questioning it, is like we are so close to the precipice of like falling off. We are so close to disaster that we should be throwing all of our power to them almost, right? And that sounds scary, but the
I
alternative
guess
is
that's an
scary.
opinion. If I'm playing devil's advocate, it's an opinion, which I guess. But then there's going to be somebody with an equally intelligent opposing opinion.
Equally intelligent.
Meaning
Okay.
someone who's going to be able to construct an intelligent opposing opinion. It happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
They go find the one scientist with the information that seems to suit their agenda, and they throw him or her at you.
This is where we go wrong. Like this one scientist thing, that's not the way that we make decisions in like in a smart world. We don't do the one scientist thing.
Yeah, but we do.
Right, which is not the right thing to be doing.
Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem: is that we're teaching for example, like I'm supposed to be teaching kids that science is like that you're supposed to have bajillions and bajillions and bajillions of trials in order to have a better guarantee in an experiment, in order to have a better guarantee that the results are correct. But yet, when it comes to on a greater scale, like people are listening to like one scientist, like wouldn't you think
Yeah.
it would make sense to like, you know, not believe something unless multiple people say it?
I mean, how many prominent doctors in the field came out with differing information just on COVID?
Well, that's true. The most recent argument has been like apparently the pediatricians association, like the American Academy of Pediatricians or whatever, came out with saying that it was that ostensibly that schools need to reopen because the damage that was being done to the kids by isolation and
The
stay home orders was worse than like the COVID.
Psychologically or physical, like
So there's a
Both.
theory that people aren't exposing themselves to the normal things that they would build immunities to by exposing themselves to it. So now our immune systems are more compromised because quarantine and lockdown. This is a theory that because we're not just, kids are petri dishes, right? They regularly come into contact with all kind of stuff every day. And that kind of helps them to develop an immunity to all kind of stuff. Well, what a theory is with us being online, being exposed to this stuff, all
Kids
these
aren't
different
being
germs,
exposed to colds and other shit like
right?
that
All
too.
these different germs, we're now more susceptible when we do come out of this situation to being affected by it.
But I don't think it's not even about that. Like the pediatricians weren't even talking. I know. Yeah, that is a viewpoint I've heard, but that wasn't mentioned once in like the pediatricians article. They were talking more about like the psychological effects of kids not going to in-person school, whether it be like, you know, younger kids losing out on the on opportunities to learn to socialize properly, or whether it be that like, you know, teachers that kids
right, there is an
are locked
education
in
that
with.
comes from human interaction.
Okay,
But
but we're
also,
talking about what, 1 or 2 years here? Like, come on.
look, I here's like my take on it is, I mean, 1 or 2 years might be more dangerous, like depending on how young the kid is, because 1 or 2 years is a higher percentage of their life so far.
Especially if they're young.
Like, I don't really care either way, because I mean, I bitch and moan about online learning all the time, but I don't really care for myself if they tell us to go back, simply for the very
Certainly 1 or 2 years for a 4-year-old is a significant amount of time when it comes to socializing and developing social skills.
Sure. And
a middle
they do
schooler
have
can probably miss a couple years.
And they do have to also make sure, and I'm not saying that it can substitute for the other, but you got to make sure that we're doing as much as we can through our technology, socializing as we can. And I know it's not the same thing, but at least
you're right though.
At least do as much as we can. But getting back to giving this power, like, to scientists, I'm not saying like power over our lives. I'm just saying if someone is about to pass a disastrous bill that's going to push like the climate over the edge, they should be able to like veto that and be like, no, that is, we're talking about the climate here. We're talking about the entire planet. We're not talking about, you know, Joe Blow's thing he's trying to pass that, you know.
Just so you know, Mike, I'm disagreeing with you. But from a devil's advocate position, right? What you're saying, if I'm playing devil's advocate, it sounds you have, you know, real investment in what goes on with the climate. And I'm just telling you, I don't believe this climate story stuff. I think it's all a hoax.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is like your beliefs are impeding on the health of the entire
But
planet.
Think about you.
What's that?
But I could say your beliefs are doing the same to me.
And
Yeah,
I'm a
this
part
is
of the
why
planet.
but
Your beliefs are
but
impeding on me.
but
Why
mine are not
you
based on
believe it?
beliefs. They're based
But
on science. It's not belief.
but
okay, now I
here,
feel like I'm on crossfire.
no. I'm playing. We do this all the time. I'm playing
I
devil's
know.
advocate. So this is your beliefs, our
Sorry,
beliefs.
we're
Oh,
losing
my bad,
Breaking
Mike.
the
up.
stuff you're saying.
I believe. I who says something different. This scientist who works for this corporation, they got like 6 scientists that work for them that came out and they're saying something different.
We're gonna cut out all that bullshit, and we're just gonna fall back on 98%. That's like every time Joe Blow has that bullshit hick argument, I'm just gonna like raise my middle finger and say 98%. Next question.
But people got
Right?
to vote, right?
Let him vote. Let him
I'm
vote then.
just
He
I'm
can vote.
just saying people have to vote.
Right. But so here's my answer. The votes are in. 98%. That's the vote. The votes
Of
are in.
sci- or of
Yes,
the
scientists. Yes,
because the
scientists.
population is gonna want to say, well, do we want to give these scientists this vote?
You know what?
Like we live in a world where a
we've
whole
been
bunch of things suck because people
yeah,
have opinions and rights and you know what I mean?
right. But if there's a fire in a crowded movie theater, we don't hold a vote for do we stay or do we go?
Yeah,
We
but
get the fuck
nobody
out of
sees the fire. Nobody sees the fire in this case. It's got to be more relative, right? I do,
no,
but there are a lot of people who
no.
disagree
That's
with you
where
because they don't
education
see the
lacks.
fire.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a
They
lot of
don't smell
fucking
the smoke.
morons. There's a lot of morons on this planet, and those people are not scientists. So they can go fuck themselves, or go like watch a cartoon, or go do something they're good at. This
Yeah,
is
but they
not their
really
lane.
can't.
Yeah, they can. They can. There's lots of
Yeah, but they won't.
cartoons.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
that's what I
problem.
mean. Like they really can't, Mike. Like
Okay,
I hear
so
what you're
like
saying, but it's not simple,
okay,
right?
so you
That's
know
why
what?
we're
So like dangle some keys, talk about some bathrooms or some bullshit that they care about, and get them to think about something else. Tell them, you know, they've all got to wear an Obama mask or something, and get them to like think about something else while like the smart people take care of business and save the planet. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, like people on the left, maybe we got to be a little more
Assertive?
assertive is a word. It's a little maybe diabolical even sometimes. Maybe that's getting a little bit too far, but certainly assertive. Certainly assertive. But
The
yeah, we
problem
can't
is
allow
people on the left take a lot, just sit back and take it way too often from the right wingers when we shouldn't.
well, yeah, I mean, there's an inability to fight. There's like less yeah, it's like people are not fighting. People are not
And it's
yeah, they're not
because we're
equipped.
peaceniks,
We're
ostensibly.
peaceniks, but we're also like we overthink stuff too, right? Like
That's true
it's like
too.
this like overthinking
I don't
thing.
think
Actually,
peacenik is even close to accurate. But anyway, go on.
so like there's this okay, so this kind of gets into another question. Like there's been this question about should like Black Lives Matter had come out with Black Lives Matter too, right? And this question has like brought up some like passionate debate. And there's people like, yeah, if they had just said Black Lives Matter too, then people wouldn't have gotten upset. And it's like, well, they could have still said all lives. They could have still said all lives matter in response to it, right? So then it's this whole question of like messaging and who's good at messaging. And I'm like, listen, like you may not agree with defund the police and how that sounds to you or Black Lives Matter, but I'll tell you what, everyone's talking about it. So in that sense, someone's done pretty good with the messaging. You may not agree, but it's like at least riling people up and getting people to talk about it. Whereas like the old Al Gore 11-point messaging plan that no one can remember because it's boring as hell, you know,
Well,
just
I
like
think
doesn't.
if I could say something about
Yeah,
that, I think the
yeah,
difference is that like Black Lives Matter or defund the police or whatever else these days is being kind of pushed by social media influencers, whereas like back when Al Gore made his whatever amount of points plan, social media was not a thing. And like now that's who people are listening to, is these social media influencers. So that's
Yeah,
who's gonna have to explain this stuff.
yeah, but other than that, like a bore is still a bore. Like Al Gore was still Al Gore.
Well,
Doesn't
on
matter.
top of that, but
Yeah, like Reagan, Ronald Reagan, uh, Bill Clinton. These people weren't around when social media was a thing, but they still were like charismatic leaders who were able to make a point. Remember, like the whole "it's the economy, stupid."
well,
Like
exactly.
I didn't even remember that being said when it was said. I just remember later hearing it and it being stuck in my mind.
But here's
Right?
the
It's
thing:
like,
is that like they were charismatic for their day. What's like these days? I'm gonna say this from my experience teaching. Like, if it's not a TikTok or an Instagram or this, that, and the other, you can't get anybody like under 30 to pay
Yeah,
attention.
if you're trying to engage the youth, like, and that's something I've learned. I told you this, Mike, over a year ago, maybe even longer, when I first wanted to start doing stuff on YouTube. You know, time is very important commodity these days, especially for the youth. And I kind of learned this from watching the youth on social media. Like, they don't even want, 20 track CDs anymore. They want like
they don't.
nine
I
2 minute
can't
and
sit for that
20-second
shit.
songs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's, we're in this era where information is coming so fast, right? It's not even about what you know, it's more about what you can access.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't even really have it stored in your brain, as long as you know how to act, as long as you can get a hold of the information. So it's like, we're in this world where if you're trying to engage the youth, it's got to come in like portions.
I agree with everything that you're saying. I do not disagree. That being said, you still need a charismatic person in the first place. All we're saying is that the presentation needs to be in a way that folks are going to get it. But Al Gore is not going to take
Oh
a
no,
TikTok
he's not going to
and
be
make himself.
a TikTok.
He's not going to make himself interesting because of a TikTok. It's just not going to happen.
Well, and I think the problem is that like is that there's not much of an overlap in between like the scientific community who's trying to say, hey, danger, and like the influencer community that the youth are paying attention to. And that's where I think that education kind of does come into play, because they're telling us all now, like, oh, well, you need engage. You need to use these technological tools to engage your students, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
we're basically just performing like a massive, like, array of TikTok videos for our students just to get them to freaking remember anything.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where the crossover has to happen, is in education.
Yeah, and
The problem is people are educating themselves in other areas outside of school, not exclusive of school, or but
And that too.
certainly, most people, and it just is what it is. Most people under 30 get a majority of their media from social media, their news.
Mm-hmm.
It's through a social media filter. They're not really turning on CNN or what have you. They're getting it through a social media filter, and then if they're exercising any type of due diligence, right, then they're going to Google to kind of cross-reference that piece of information that they got. I see people do it all the time. I see people post a meme. The other day somebody posted a meme about John Hanson being the first president of the United States, and he was black. And I'm looking at this meme, and it's showing John Hanson, and I'm looking at this meme, and I'm like, so I just did a Google search, and the picture in the meme was actually John Hanson from Liberia. You know what I mean? But they took this picture of this guy from Liberia and was the first president of Congress in the United States, which that John Hanson was actually a Swedish American who was white. And it's like, you know, because I meme. And you know what I mean? I don't really like memes because I think memes don't educate and people kind of use them as a way of educating. But, you know, that was just something that I, you know, Google search. And then I went and cross-referenced it a couple different places. I'm like, okay, this is fake. But, you know, so anyone who's doing their due diligence, that, right? Like, they're barely
Kids
paying
don't do
attention
their
in high
due
school.
diligence.
I mean, but some kids do. If they
Some
want to
kids,
engage in, if they really want to engage in some conversation on social media, they may just go Google.
But
that
what I'm
brings us to another
saying
point.
is their due diligence, even what they consider doing due diligence, they might not necessarily be finding the correct information. Like,
Right.
let me give
Well,
you an
that's
example.
a confirmation bias, right? They find the information that seems to suit their argument.
Do you know how many times that I had a kid tell me that like we shouldn't be getting them in trouble for smoking weed and like near school grounds anymore because weed cured the coronavirus? They just wanted to say that because they wanted to smoke weed. Like, but that was actually going on urban legend that was going around back before the lockdown started, was that like cannabis was a cure for the coronavirus.
There's a lot of stupid stuff that was going around.
I mean, to me, that's a kind of akin with the bleach thing, but nobody asked me.
I feel like there needs to be something in the culture that almost like shames people. Like it needs to be a thing, right? Like clowning people who post things without vetting it. It needs to be like embedded in the culture, right? Like where you don't want to like vet it because you're going to get clowned and you're going to look stupid for posting some information that hasn't been vetted at all.
Well, I have noticed that like more recently, Facebook and Twitter have started fact checking things.
Yeah.
But they should
do.
They should have been doing that all along though. Like there was so much fake news posted for years and now we're wondering why we have to explain to the country that no, it's not safe to drink bleach. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, look, to their defense, and I'm not one to defend, social media sites, but to their defense, this is a public platform, right? And people post things, and people look at what other people post, and they repost. It's like they didn't think of themselves as some kind of like information police.
They didn't think of themselves as CNN, but the fact of the matter is that the youth, they're treating Facebook as CNN right now.
Well, the reason why they're censoring things is because it's actually a private platform.
Well, yeah, it's a corporation that by default makes it a private platform. It's not government owned.
Right. Well, I guess my point is that it's like open to the public, and like they probably didn't think of themselves as like having to police what people post, right?
No, because they didn't think they were a news network, but people
right.
are using them as such.
I see. Yeah.
Well, that's just like the evolution of things, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the CPU, the central processing unit, which we didn't expect to have because we happen to, combine assembly line with transistor capacity with
Julian's here.
And as a result of we now have, social media kind of evolved that way, right? People started using, no one knew that everyone was going to leave MySpace when the Facebook was created. You know what I mean? and then no one knew that the Facebook would become, I think the biggest impact, that probably kind of gave Mark Zuckerberg pause is when Mubarak got overthrown, right? We're talking about like a coup that was organized on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like they literally organized in Egypt on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they were coordinating with people all over the continent on Facebook. And that was not just for Zuckerberg, but like world leaders to really recognize the power social media platform had.
Are you sure you guys can't hear the fireworks from my?
I can.
I
You
can
can?
hear
Mine
them.
too.
A moment.
Oh, okay.
Can we take a moment and wish Julian a happy birthday?
Yeah. Happy birthday,
He
Julian.
turned like 40 this year. Happy
Oh,
birthday!
damn.
Julian,
Thank you.
You didn't turn 40, did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Julian's 40. That makes me past that.
Older.
How old did you turn? Like 36, 38?
33.
33?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know.
38.
No, you're not that young, are you?
No, I am.
Well,
Wow.
congratulations, black man.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow.
33 is a good number.
Yeah, that's the
I
Jesus
like
number.
3. What did you do today?
Keep that in mind. Well, we did a lot. We went to
Is it safe for the ears of children?
We're not children.
You are.
we had a picnic in the park. We stopped at a Japanese food restaurant, kind of picked it up. Didn't dine in or dine out or anything. Picked it up and brought that to the park. Danny got me a shirt. That's how we started the day. It's a
Aww.
Really-
Let's see the shirt.
oh yes, that's a good idea. I was gonna
Put
explain.
on the shirt.
I'm not gonna put on the shirt because I would then have to take off my own shirt. But
Well, you could do it off camera.
I could, but would I? This is the shirt.
Oh,
You
cool.
axolotl. What's the last
Oh, that's pretty dope.
Questions.
Oh, that's not a question. Cool.
So cute.
And what's the visual on there? What is the?
Is that
It's an
Dune?
axolotl.
It's an
From
axolotl.
Dune.
Aww,
Oh,
that's
okay,
so
okay.
cute.
Cool.
You axolotl question.
Fish. What are they? Crayfish? What are they?
I'm not really sure.
Little underwater animals that just naturally have like a smile.
Amphibians. They're very hard to take care of.
I've never taken care of one. But
So basically, the animals that don't have a resting bitch face.
yes. But then after that, we went to the park, like I mentioned earlier, and then we came back, and Danny got me a cake.
Aww, can we see the
Nice.
cake?
Well, here's. Oh.
It's in their stomachs, Cynthia.
Ooh,
Nice.
Oreo cake. Is that ice cream cake?
Wait, what?
Was it ice cream cake?
No, it was from a bake shop near me. It was like buttercream kind of.
Ooh.
And can we see the park?
Oh, yeah, I'll get it right now.
Oh, is it in the other room? Do I need to come into the house? Is it in the other
didn't-
room with your checkbook?
You didn't take pictures of the park?
We didn't. Well, I'll make sure to take pictures on my next birthday.
Well, if you told us what park it was, we could just look it up.
Prospect,
Yeah, I was thinking.
Prospect Park.
There it
Oh,
is,
Prospect
Okay,
Park.
we all know what Prospect Park looks like.
That's a beautiful park.
But Danny made it a very, very special day for me.
Aww, I'm sure she did.
Not like that.
Cynthia!
That's a terrible birthday then. What the fuck, Danny?
One of the most special birthdays I've had as an adult.
Aw, that's so nice.
And
That's
even
so
and even
cute.
with that, even though the day was almost over, I was like, wow, this is the perfect day.
Oh, there's more?
There's
Did
more.
he get a
Oh, wait,
puppy?
there's more.
Oh.
Got me 2 giant maps, one of Jersey City and one of Brooklyn.
Oh,
Aww.
That's cool.
Does it make you miss home, Jersey City?
In a good way.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm overwhelmed right now.
Oh.
Or, you know what I'm thinking? I don't know how good of a segue this is, but we're kind of on schedule to flip the way that we were gonna do tonight's
the reading.
whole engagement. Yeah, we're kind of on point to start the reading. If we were originally gonna start it at 9:30, now we have at least 5 people, and
Did we wait for Sam?
Oh yeah.
oh, is Sam
No,
is Sam
but we
coming?
said he could be Silent Bob. Silent Bob doesn't talk till the end of the movie.
Yeah. Ish, are you able to do one line at the end of the movie?
Yes, oh no.
I'll be right back. My grandmother's
Okay.
calling.
Okay,
Oh.
so then Ish is Silent Bob until Sam gets there, because Bob is silent.
Well, because
Right.
when you guys start the script, I'm going to mute.
And listen,
Wow. Oh,
Wait, but you're
mute
still gonna listen.
yourself.
You're still gonna listen to us?
Yeah, I'll listen. I'll probably read some monstrous or
Oh,
You know.
okay. Because I know you had originally said you wanted to be doing other things. I'm like, well, if you're gonna listen to us, but you're not gonna participate.
well,
you're
because I
still
can do
doing
other
this thing.
things. I can do
I
other
got you.
things while
I
I'm
got you.
and I'll definitely give out my normal script award for the best
Okay.
reader.
Okay.
Cynthia won the first one that I saw.
Woohoo!
Well, see, I don't consider
It's a no
myself a
prize.
reader.
It's called a no
I don't
prize,
consider
but it's
myself a reader. I consider myself an actor. An
well,
actor is just.
you had
Huh?
that really interesting like cross Jamaican slash I don't know what kind of accent. It was like a blend of like if a Jamaican man went to like England or something.
Well, actually, England has a ton of Jamaican
I
people.
didn't see a person
Sorry,
from
we lost a
England.
bunch. Yeah.
Your
Okay,
your yours was just it was a special accent, Mike. It was totally unique to you, never used before.
yeah. Well, these are. That's the way I saw the character, as kind of this magical being, kind of from England, but Jamaican roots, and also there's this word for the affectation that individual people have, like it's almost like their own accent. There's an interesting word for it, but there's a thing there that certain people have their own.
Well, I just want to say, Cynthia, you could really tell that you like Ron Weasley because like as soon as you got to the lines, like you were immediately like an English white boy.
I also
Like,
love the
immediately.
movies, and I used to watch it like every week. So
Yeah,
Ah,
definitely
familiar.
big difference between your reading of Ron Weasley and your Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You could tell that you were invested in the Ron Weasley thing.
oh, Julian's back.
I'm back.
So I'm gonna put the link to the script in the chat box.
Okay.
So
okay, so what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to start up another video. I'm going to have it on mute, and I'm going to start up another video featuring this video, and I'll be critiquing this video as it's taking place.
What the fuck?
I'm just
Wait a
kidding.
minute. So are you gonna? Oh, okay. I was gonna be like, that could be a cool video to watch. Is him doing a live critique of our video?
No, that's fucked up. No one wants to be judged. I'm not gonna do it.
people do it to celebrities all the time.
Yeah, well, they're not celebrities.
No one wants to be judged unless it's judged positively. Then we're all good.
Well, Cynthia didn't want to be monogamy shamed.
What?
I don't even know what
I'll
that
tell you
means.
later. When you're older,
I don't know.
when
I'm
you're
trying to get up
when
there.
you're old, no, when you're old enough to run for president. So in 2 years. See, because you can write my name in on the ballot. We can't write Julian Moore now, can we?
I already did. I thought you'd win.
Well, my big toe would be a better president than what we have.
Emily, is this link working? I don't see the script.
Hey, you guys have fun. I will be going into dark mode.
Okay.
It's the one that. You know what? Do you want me to share it to the screen too?
Yeah. Wait. I typed in the link, but it's... Yeah, I don't see that. Go on.
Do you see the screen now?
Yeah. But I want to have it on my own screen.
So, I
Hey,
propose.
why don't you share it in the chat? That
Good
way,
call.
yeah, that
She
way
did.
I can still.
I did, but it was bajillions of ages ago. I'll share it again.
Oh yeah,
though.
that doesn't. Yeah, we don't.
There we go.
Bajillion.
Okay.
No,
Bajillion ages don't count.
But I want to see your faces as I'm reading this. Hold on.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, there we
Well,
go. Okay.
I'll stop. I'm gonna send it again.
she stopped sharing her screen.
Okay. I sent the link again in the group chat.
Okay, that's good.
It's going to be exciting. Maybe this
So
will just...
who's gonna be the
But Julian
narrator?
can't see the group chat. I'm gonna email it to Julian.
Oh, I can't.
Oh well,
On this,
I haven't seen you talk on it in a while.
Oh,
I
well,
think you
we're
just
using,
muted it.
a computer instead of not on my phone. So,
Oh.
yeah. So we can see the group chat, right?
Oh.
the chat on this, but the group chat sounds different.
Wait.
The Facebook group chat.
Oh, okay.
But Julian, it's in the chat box on this
Oh, okay. Well,
on
then,
Zoom.
okay.
So just click that link.
Well,
We
we
already
have
have-
the script.
Yeah.
Oh, you did have it.
The Facebook chat sounds like a different issue.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a different problem for a different day.
You guys are such
Um,
fans that you have the script laying around. You just
Yeah.
happen to have it. You have it on
So-
paper.
Be prepared.
Okay, so
That's great.
I move we start with scene 5, which is interior convenience store day. Dante waits on a customer, the activist buying coffee.
Hold on.
So
How do
there's
you know? How do
Dante.
you find the scenes? I don't see any of them notated.
They're all within the script. And,
It's on the right side of the page.
Oh, there we go. I was looking on the left. Okay. So who are the characters? Who's Dante? Who's the activist?
I'm gonna be Dante because I know this movie like back and forward.
Who's the activist? Who's the customer?
Julian, do you want to be the activist?
I will be the activist.
It looks like just 3 characters.
Well, no, there's more characters later.
Oh, okay.
Who wants to be the random customer?
I'll do that.
Okay. So I'll be Dante. Julian,
Okay.
Julian, you'll be the activist, and Danny, you'll be the customer.
Who wants to be the narrator?
Do you want to be the narrator?
Flav, you be the narrator. I'm terrible at narrating.
well, I was supposed to be Jay.
But
Oh,
Jay's
hold
not
on.
there yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine.
Wait, hold on. Which scene are we stopping at? Because there's more than 5 characters I'm seeing.
Well,
There's
let's
Jay,
just
Guy.
do this one. Let's just do scene 5, and then what's in scene 7, 8? It's mainly like just Dante customer and activist all the way through, all the way to scene 8. Then yeah, Jay and Guy.
And then I think there's customer 1, customer 2.
Well, we'll play it by ear. Customer 1 and customer 2 can be like the same person.
All right. I'll be the narrator then, I guess.
I thought you
Okay.
said I was going to be the narrator.
Oh, okay. You can
No,
be the
you're gonna be
narrator.
Jay. You could be the narrator, Cynthia, or we don't need a narrator.
You guys are confusing me. Well, Jay's not in this.
Yeah, but he will be before like this scene is over.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we're starting at Cynthia. We're starting at interior convenience store day.
Okay. Interior convenience store day. Dante waits on a customer. Activist. Buying coffee.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Do you mind if I drink this here?
Sure. Go ahead.
The activist leans on a briefcase and drinks the coffee. Another customer leans in the door.
Are you open?
Yeah.
Pack of cigarettes.
Are you sure?
Am I sure?
Are you sure?
Am I sure about what?
Do you really want to buy those cigarettes?
Are you serious?
How long have you been smoking?
What, is this a poll?
Beats me.
How long have you been a smoker?
Since I was 13.
The activist lifts his briefcase onto the counter. He opens it and extracts a sickly-looking lung model.
I'd say you're about 19, 20, am I right?
What the hell is that?
That's your lung. By this time, your lung looks like this.
You're shitting me.
You think I'm shitting you?
The activist hands him something from the briefcase.
What's this?
It's a trap.
A trach ring.
It's a trach ring. It's what they install in your throat when the throat cancer takes your voice box. This one came out of a 60-year-old man.
Ugh.
He smoked until the day he died. Used to put the cigarette in this thing to smoke it that way.
Excuse me, but
This is where you're heading. A cruddy lung smoking through a hole in your throat. Do you really want this?
Well, if it's already too late.
It's never too late. Give those cigarettes back now and buy some gum instead. Here, Chewy's gum. Try this.
It's not the same.
It's cheaper than cigarettes, and it certainly beats this.
Hands him a picture.
It's a picture of a cancer-ridden lung. Keep it.
To Dante.
I'll just take the gum.
55.
You've made a wise choice. Keep up the good work.
The customer exits.
Maybe you should take that coffee outside.
No, I think I'll drink it in here. Thanks.
If you're gonna drink it in here, I'd appreciate it if you not bother the customers.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Another customer comes up to the counter.
A pack of cigarettes.
Looks at model.
What's that?
This? How long have you been smoking?
Cut 2. Exterior convenience store. Day. A blank wall. Jay steps into the frame, followed by Silent Bob. Jay pulls off his coat and slings it into the arms of Silent Bob. Jay then throws down with the makeshift slam dance, spinning his arm and fake hitting Silent Bob.
Jay.
Did Flav drop out?
Wave?
He got lost.
We need some tits and ass, yeah.
Silent Bob lights a smoke.
I feel good today, Silent Bob. We're going to make some money. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to that party and get some pussy. I'm going to fuck this bitch. That bitch. I'll fuck anything that moves.
Silent Bob points to something off screen, to OT.
What you looking at? I'll kick your fucking ass. Doesn't that motherfucker still owe me $10?
Silent Bob nods.
Tonight, you and me are going off that fucker's head and take out his fucking soul. Remind me if he tries to buy something from us to cut it with leaves and twigs or fucking shit in the motherfucker's bag.
Some girls walk past. Jay smiles at them.
What's up, sluts? Damn, Silent Bob, you one rude motherfucker, but you're cute as hell. I want to go down on you and suckle you. And then I want to line up 3 more guys and make like a circus.
Jay makes blowjob faces down an imaginary line of guys, like looking quite like a performing seal. He throws a little humming sound behind each nod. He then hops up quickly.
Ooh, you fucking faggot. I fucking hate guys. I love women. Nah. A guy comes up to them. Oh, whoops.
You're selling?
Comes up to them.
Shit. I got a problem. We got to pause this.